Last week on the Vanbuild, I installed the overhead door rails, prepped, drilled, and epoxy set 24 easy lock fasteners, installed strutting for mounting of the solar panels, primed and painted the entire roof, and installed 2 roof vents.
Welcome back. My name's Jax, and I'm taking this Ford E-350 cargo van and converting it into an RV.
This week, I begin laying out and cutting the next wall sheet. I use spray adhesive to hold the real wool product in place before fastening the sheet to the wall frames. With the end 2 wall sheets installed, I decide to get some of the shiplap off the floor and onto the ceiling. Okay, so I squared this piece up with the back of the van. There's a little discrepancy in how this frame was installed. It's a little bit bowed, which, you know, is what it is. What I did is I trimmed off this edge here that sticks out. You can see that there's a nice little bit of a gap there, which is perfect. And they're flush. They fit real nice there. One's not sticking up above the other one. So I think I'm going to run with that, and then I'll just continue the shiplap down. I'll have to make a short piece to go to there. I'll probably have to scribe something because it's probably going to be a little bit weird, but I think we're going to be in pretty good shape with that now, so that's going to look good. So I'm going to lay out the screws, get a good measurement, good line, and then put them in. Once a plan was formulated, and after a fit check, I insulated and started to install the shiplap. I laid out and countersunk for the fasteners and then screwed them in place. Well, part of the ceiling's up. This section over here, that also is going to be horizontal, like that side is, but the remaining of the ceiling is going to come long ways. So the lines are going to be... Let's try this again. So I got a little bit of a gap here where the door needs to be built up a little bit more. At least the door frame anyways. I don't want that much of a gap. That's an inch plus the corner here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to epoxy set these pieces of plywood in here, and then when they cure, then we'll be able to cut that door around there, and that'll be a nice tight finish.
Okay, so we're going to cut this door in. I've got it marked out with some blue tape. I drilled 4 holes in a bit of the corners to mark about where it's going to go. Now that top section is curved and a little bit higher than where I've got the hole at, but I'm going to cut that from the inside because I've got it marked there. But I'm going to do the most of the cutting here on the outside. I've got the bottom already trimmed off. I'm going to have to go lower than that molding, but for right now I'm going to leave it to see what's what.
I ended up removing part of the rub rail underneath the door, but then ended up needing some flashing to finish out the bottom of it. So I used some aluminum roof flashing. I cut, bent, and then secured it into place with some adhesive. Okay, so I got the door just sort of temporarily screwed in, just 2 screws. For the second, while I sort these stairs out to make sure that they're going to work as advertised, I set the stairs in and I pushed them tight against the threshold there, and I put in a couple of screws through these little holes they've got conveniently located. And now I'm looking at this locking mechanism that keeps the stairs up and secure while traveling, and it looks like that this little latch here gets trapped on the flange. Now I had to tweak these a little bit because this wasn't bent properly, and so it wouldn't fit over that. But now that I've got it where it should be, I can tighten these down. And then that's in the locked position. And then you just hit that lever, and then the stairs just drop right down, and you're into the door. Now, I worried a little bit about the door not being able to shut. So the only thing I got to worry about now is making sure that the stairs are up before I drive away. That would be bad. Okay, so that's that. And then of course the stairs just pick up and they get stowed. Lovely. Very nice. I'm going to install the door next, but after a dry fit, I realized a few adjustments are needed to the opening.
Whew.
Once I get the door fitting properly, I applied butyl tape before mounting and fastening the door into place.
Sure. Don't count the screw holes, so now you're 8 screws short. That's okay.
I had to go back to the box store anyways. Well, after yesterday's much needed day off, back down here at the Van putzing, I've got the wiring ran down for the solar. That wasn't too bad. My knees are not very happy with me, so I had to be super cautious, but essentially that's our pigtails there. So they'll be long enough to run. Two are going to go over to there, two are going to go over to that side, and then this one in the middle is going to stay there and connect to the center panel. So that'll be that. And of course, 3 coats of finish paint on the inside of the garage door panels. We can take and move these now back inside the inside the container. Get them out of the way. Won't be mounting the doors yet. So that's today's project. And then I ran out of screws for the door. Kind of trying to remember in my head how many screw holes there were, and there wasn't. I didn't get the number right, so I've got to replace 9 screws, I think, and then trim up the butyl tape. It's seeping out the sides, and I've got some 3M sealant that I'm going to apply, but the problem is I've only got 1 tube, and the sealant is only good for like 24 hours once you open it. So I'm gonna wait until I get the windows installed, and then we'll have 2 windows, we'll have the door, and then there's a trim ring that goes up over top of the door to help keep the water shed off of the door, top of the door there. So then we'll be able to seal all 3 of those all at the same time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to check out next week's video. And if you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe.